Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining today's EAC webinar. This is Cassie Stumo. I am the marketing specialist at EAC. Today we will be talking about how you can rapidly create, publish, and share augmented reality experiences directly from Creo. We will begin today's session with an introduction of EAC, and then our technical account manager, Matt Kloos, will be diving into Creo AR. This session is being recorded. Unless there are any technical difficulties, then everyone will receive a replay after the webinar. Any questions in the queue will be answered after the presentation. I'm going to start off by introducing EAC. We transform the way businesses design, manufacture, connect to, and service their products. EAC strives to optimize our customers' product development systems to help them win in the marketplace. We have a range of products and services that we sell, including CAD, PLM, and SLM software, desktop 3D printers, implementing IoT and AR into business strategies, and we offer services like help with design and engineering projects, and we offer various training courses. We are proud to be PTC's leading North America solutions provider, bringing to you the promise of physical-digital convergence today to drive the future of innovation. Now I will pass it on to Matt to discuss the powerful AR benefits and functionalities within Creo.
So thanks a lot for the introduction. So yeah, my name is Matt Kloos, Senior Technical Account Manager here at EAC. So what we're going to go through today is augmented reality inside of Creo Parametric. This is an extremely powerful thing, mainly because most of the people that are probably watching this have Creo Parametric already. And a lot of what people have seen around augmented reality often makes them ask the question, well, how do I get started? And this really is the easiest way to do it. So going forward, again, we're going to be talking about Creo Parametric and augmented reality, but in future webinars, we will be covering some of the new functionality and features that's coming out in Creo Parametric. Some of the things that came out in Creo 4, as well as some of the new things that have been released inside of Creo 5. So stay tuned to future webinars, but for this one today, what we're talking about is augmented reality. All right, so probably a perfect place to start would be discussing the definition of augmented reality. Some of you may know it, some of you may not, but very simply, it's superimposing computer graphics onto a live view of the world. So computer-generated image on what you're looking at right now. And typically that's done through the use of a phone, a tablet, that sort of thing. It could also be leveraging something like a HoloLens, which allows the user not to have to hold anything. But again, that is what augmented reality is. So specifically around Creo, augmented reality, the idea here is to be able to share your design intent with other people outside of engineering. So when you think of sharing information in engineering, what do? You typically tell someone, hey, go open up this file, go look at this, and it's not a problem. But when you start expanding out past engineering, it becomes a big issue, and we'll cover some of those issues here in a second. But the key component, if you don't take anything away from this webinar except one piece of information, is that Creo Augmented Reality is included with every Creo Essentials and Creo Engineer package. Okay. The caveat there is you have to be using Creo 4.0 release M10 or later. Now there's some specific differences as you go through the releases, but just know to start with augmented reality, Creo 4.0, maintenance release M10 or later. All right, so one of the challenges, one of the issues that often we see, you know, my background being engineering, I saw this a number of times, and working with customers, I still see it, is the tedious process to prepare and package models so people can actually see them. So you think about if you're trying to push information or review info for, let's just say a design review in your four walls, maybe you're trying to push information to a supplier or vendor just to get their input on the design. Think about all the steps and the processes you typically go through to do that. You're talking about saving a copy of files, making sure you have the assembly, all the parts, all the drawings. It becomes, again, a very tedious thing. And not only that, but when you send that information out, honestly, there's no real telling where it's going to end up. Intellectual property or IP, that loss could be huge. So what AR allows you to do is go ahead and rapidly create this experience that anyone using an Android-based or Apple-based phone or tablet, or again, a HoloLens, can go ahead and view this model and review it. That gives them the opportunity to give feedback and give information. And again, what you're doing is you're sharing this augmented reality experience. This doesn't force you to go ahead and hand out your intellectual property to people that maybe you don't want to share it with. So again, this is a great way for design reviews or just getting that initial feedback on a design from suppliers and vendors. Another example of the issues that people see with passing information or doing design reviews: inability to convey size and scale, right? This is something that, especially as you start getting into design reviews, again, past engineering, this can become problematic. Think of the situations where you have people in the room that just aren't familiar with the design, have no experience with it, maybe someone that's new in the organization. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a design review and someone says, hey, you know what, I can't really understand this. You know, I need to see it. I need to see a physical prototype. I need to see it in front of me. I can't really understand the size of this. I need to see something in front of me. So what do? You end up spending money and time to build a prototype, mock something up, all for what? For someone to point at something and say, yeah, we don't like this, let's abandon it and go in a different direction. So what augmented reality gives you the opportunity to do is publish this experience at a one-to-one scale. So now people can go ahead and see and interact with that design in person. So it goes a long way to helping people piece together what they're looking at on a computer screen and see it visually in the real world, right? That's a huge thing. Unfortunately, as all of us that have worked in CAD know, there's no real scale to what you're looking at on the screen. You could be looking at a car, you could be looking at an entire building, and it's on a 15-inch display. So that's another use of visualization and AR to help convey that information to people outside of engineering. So specifically around Creo AR Design Share. So the key component to all of this is, again, there's functionality that's available inside of Creo Parametric in every license. Right? That functionality allows you to generate 5 AR experiences for free. Now you have those 5 AR experiences, you can share them with whoever, but there's some caveats there. First off, there's only 5. So the minute that you go ahead and publish a 6th experience, it's going to go ahead and erase that first one. The other caveat is it has a 6-month lifespan. So 6 months from now, you went ahead and generated an augmented reality experience using the free functionality, it's going to go ahead and disappear. So maybe some problems there, maybe not, but just helping you understand what the limitations are. Now, if you were to go in the direction of getting the AR Design Share extension, this gives you an opportunity to either have 10 models tied to that specific user account or 50 models tied to it. So again, a little bit more capability there in terms of the amount of models that you can publish AR experience off of. The other component of this, and probably the more important component, is the administrative control that it gives you. So being able to add and remove authors and viewers so that you can see who's actually looking at this information. Maybe you shared this augmented reality experience with a supplier and you no longer work with that supplier. This gives you the opportunity to stop them from being able to view that AR experience, and it gives you a little bit more capability to manage adding, deleting models. So key benefits are pretty obvious there. Just know that when you go ahead and add the AR Design Share extension, you're getting more than the 5 free models, and you're getting administrative control over the experiences that you create. Pretty straightforward. Now, the one thing, and most of the content on this page we've already talked about, but the one reason I wanted to show this is, talking about having a phone or having a tablet, how does that work? What do you need? All you need is ThingWorx View. So this is something that you can go to the Apple Store or Google Play Store and go and download right now. So you can go and take a look at that, download it. It's free. And really, to be honest with you, we're going to look at a demonstration, and it's going to be pretty quick as far as adding, generating that AR experience and publishing it. But the one thing that this does not convey is how great of an AR experience can be in person, right? You're looking at a webinar that's going to be an image of me looking at an AR experience. Really, the content, the purpose there is lost. So please go ahead and download this ThingWorx View app, and then contact EAC and we can get you set up with some experiences. There's also some experiences that come out of the box as well. We can talk about that in a second. All right, the last thing, we'll stop with the PowerPoint. We'll jump into the real purpose that people here is to see the software. One of the things that we often see when talking about augmented reality, and this is the case with the Creo parametric augmented reality capabilities, as well as some of the other capabilities that PTC has. People see augmented reality, they look at it, and usually the first words out of their mouth are cool, that's great. And then there's this question mark over their head saying, well, that's wonderful, but what does this mean to me? The reality is you have to turn this into something that can make you money as an organization. How can you turn cool into dollars? And really that's what EAC has spent a lot of time trying to figure out and help our customers figure out, is that this is a powerful tool for a number of different areas in your organization. We're going to focus on design, specifically design review, and that's what we're talking about today. But look at all these other things and other areas in your organization that augmented reality can help out with. So if you have questions off of this webinar going forward, feel free to reach out to EAC. We can help you come up with an augmented reality strategy that makes sense for your organization. All right, so that's enough PowerPoint. Let's go ahead and jump into the software. So there's two different versions of Creo Parametric I'm going to be showing today. And I'm trying to explain this as simply as possible for everyone on the call. Again, if there's questions, we can tackle those at the end. But there was a change. Again, everyone has to be on Creo 4 M10 or above. So with Creo 4 M10 to M30, what PTC did was they allowed you to generate an augmented reality experience by generating a thing mark. A thing mark is very simply a visual cue for augmented reality. So you would go ahead, you would select the thing mark, and then you would see that information, that augmented reality experience appear on your phone or your tablet or whatever you were using. As of Creo 4 M40 and above, including Creo 5, what they've done is they've moved away from the thing mark, and now they just use spatial tracking. And what that means is instead of having that visual cue that's tied to the model, you're just going to come up with that target inside of Creo Parametric, and now you can go and use your phone to basically display that augmented reality experience anywhere. It doesn't require that thing mark to cue in on. So some positives and negatives there. It's really nice not to have to print a thing mark and share that out. The problem with the spatial target or the spatial tracking is there's limited phones or tablets that can use it. Most of your iOS devices, that's not going to be a problem. But if you start going into Android, there's only a handful of Android devices that can use this spatial tracking out of the box. So just keep that in mind. Again, I'll probably try to go over that towards the end of this, but that is the difference between Creo 4 M10 to M30 versus Creo 4 M40 and above. So we'll start with Creo 4 M10 to M30. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a thing mark to this design. So you can see this is just under tools. I'm going to go ahead and add a thing mark. Now, when I add this thing mark, you're going to see it kind of almost looks like a QR code. Same idea here. I can position this. I can also scale it. I can do any number of things, rotate. All I'm doing is trying to position this so that when someone selects the experience, that's going to position how they see in this case, this bike frame. Okay, so pretty straightforward there, not a whole lot going on. If anyone's ever assembled a component inside of an assembly, same idea. All right, so now the tools that are involved with going ahead and publishing this and then actually sharing it. So you can see publish model right here. I'm already logged in with my PTC account. So now I can go ahead and choose the name of the model. I can choose the thing mark that we're going to select, and what's this going to be, this thing mark right here. And I can choose the quality that's going to be shared out. So if this is a larger assembly, I'm probably going to turn the quality a little bit lower so that this augmented reality experience can load a little bit quicker. Now, the other components here, we have the opportunity to share the thing mark. This is really nice because if we go ahead and choose this, you're going to see it's going to open up Outlook or whatever mail service that we're using, and we're going to have this email automatically generated for us. So think of the idea of sharing this out, either internally or externally. We now get this email that's automatically generated. We get an explanation of this augmented reality experience. We also get an explanation of where to download the app that people need to go ahead and leverage this augmented reality experience. So it's all done for you. Think about the time savings of not having to tell people where to download a viewer or how to go ahead and unzip files and all that stuff, right? So the thing mark, again, we'll go ahead and double click on this. You're going to see it's that exact thing mark. It's that visual cue that we went ahead and added to the model. Pretty straightforward there. So again, pretty easy, right? Not a whole lot to figure out. We can also print the thing mark directly from Creo. So if this was something that you're going into a design review with, you could just go ahead and print this thing mark off and be done with it. Now, what does this end up looking like from, let's just say a cell phone or a tablet? So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and look at what I'm seeing on my phone and how this augmented reality experience would work for an individual. So I've got my phone here. You can see it's looking at my computer. I'm going to go ahead and look at that thing mark that I've gone ahead and printed out already. So you're going to see I have my 5 experiences that I've created, and we're just going to go ahead and look at that frame. So this is going to appear a little bit choppy just because of the resolution of the software I'm using, but you can see there's that bike. It's the same bike frame that we were looking at in the background. Now we have an opportunity to scale this so we can make it bigger, we can make it smaller, whatever makes sense. We can also go ahead and do things like rotate it. I can also manually rotate around it as well, right? So I can see all the different components. I can zoom in, and I can go ahead and adjust transparency as well. So those are the capabilities of this augmented reality experience as generated out of Creo. So again, that's what it's going to look like. A little bit lost in terms of its content by looking at augmented reality experience via a webinar, but you should get the idea. So that's really it as far as generating this augmented reality experience and sharing it out. Pretty straightforward. Now, if we were to jump into Creo 4 M40 and above, same idea, right? So we've got, instead of that thing mark, we've got this spatial target we're going to add. Looks very similar, right? Well, it should. It's the same process, the same idea. I can choose a plane to align it to. I can also adjust the distance. Now, when this publishes, you're going to see I don't get a scale to adjust the thing mark. This is going to publish at a 1-to-1 ratio. So the size of this bike, that's what it's going to publish at in augmented reality. Now I can zoom and do those things as well, but it's publishing at 1-to-1. If I wanted to publish the model, you're going to see the same exact thing here. I choose the name, I choose the quality, and I'm going to go ahead. The only difference here, I choose a target as opposed to a thing mark. And now I'm going to go ahead and choose which location I want to publish to. Now, location's the big difference here, right? If we go to Manage Model, what we're going to see opening up in the Creo browser is I have a number of locations. I have this demo location that I can publish to. I also have a personal space that I can publish models to. And you're going to see the names of the models here. This is the big difference besides spatial tracking from M10 to M30, and then what we're looking at here, M40 and above. We have the model name, the date, as well as the way to share this. So I can copy this link. I can go ahead and send that if it's maybe sent in a messenger inside of your organization. I can also email it. You're going to see if I go ahead and choose email link, I'm going to get a very similar email as what I got before. This augmented reality experience, it explains it. But now I do not have a thing mark that's attached to this email. I have instructions on how to download ThingWorks View, but in this case, we have a link that we're going to follow. So on your mobile device, you would go ahead and select that link, and it's going to start that augmented reality experience. As long as your phone can handle the spatial tracking, it's going to allow you to display this augmented reality experience wherever you're pointing your phone. Okay, so a little bit of differences, little caveats there between, depending on what version you're using in Creo. Now keep in mind, as we move forward, augmented reality is something that's growing and changing. PTC has told us that if people have a preference to using the thing mark, that's something that they would think about adding back in newer versions of the software. So again, if you have that feedback where you say, you know what, the thing mark is something that allows us to distribute something physical to a customer, we prefer having that, let us know. The other issue is, of course, the thing mark doesn't have any limitations on what tablets or mobile devices can view it. The spatial tracking, again, is more limited to iOS and a handful of Android devices. So that's really augmented reality inside of Creo Parametric. I definitely recommend everyone download the app, maybe publish the thing mark that comes with the application, because if we were to look at the application itself, if we go back and look at my phone here, and we go back to the home screen of this application, you're going to see there's a library I can choose. And this library is going to have a number of experiences that have already been created. So instead of even relying on someone creating them out of Creo parametric, you can use this library of experiences. Now, of course, these have a little bit higher capability than what you're able to do just in Creo parametric. It uses some other tools that PTC has, but you're going to see here's another augmented reality experience, and we can walk step by step and see, you know, really what augmented reality can do. So that's kind of a higher level than what we wanted to cover today. What we were just focused on today was, of course, looking at how you would generate augmented reality inside of Creo parametric. So with that, we can wrap things up and go ahead and see if there's any questions that have come into the queue.
Yeah, Matt. Do you want to just mention again the app that people download for the AR experiences?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So it's ThingWorx View. It can be found in the Google Play Store or the Apple Store. Just go ahead and search that on your iOS or Android device, and you should see this pop up. And of course, it is a free download, so it does not cost anything to get.
Okay. And one of the questions that we've got here is, does Creo offer an API for their AR features?
No, it doesn't. So depending on what you're trying to do, that would be a discussion that would involve some of the higher level AR functionality that PTC has. So you start getting into talking about ThingWorx Studio, which has a whole lot more capability. Again, it's all dependent on what you're trying to do with that API, but typically people that are trying to do higher level, maybe some programming, add some buttons, add some other things to their experiences, most of that's going to be covered, including custom programming in ThingWorx Studio.
Okay, hopefully that answered your question. The next one is there a list of supported Android devices for spatial targeting?
There is, yes. It's something that's on PTC's site, and it's something that we can also share as a follow-up to the webinar.
Awesome.
Off the top of my head, the ones that I know that supported are the newest Samsung devices and the Pixel 2.
Okay. And then I think you mentioned this earlier on, but which version of Creo do we need to use AR?
Creo 4, M10 and above.
Okay. And we've got one more question in the queue. Are there higher levels of AR that PTC provides?
Yes, so that experience that we looked at briefly and all those experiences that are in that library that comes with the ThingWorx View app, those are generated typically using Creo Illustrate as a publishing tool to create animations and things, but also using something called ThingWorx Studio, which I mentioned before and relates as it relates to APIs and things. ThingWorx Studio allows you to generate a whole lot more content around AR, and as we start talking about AR, visually, it's very important, but another important component of AR is how it ties to data, and that's what ThingWorx Studio allows you to do. So if we were to, let's just say, pull up this experience again with the pipes, you can go ahead and see, if we go to this and say Analyze, you're going to see pressures as data is feeding into this pipe run, right? So this gets into that next level of, yeah, it's not just a CAD model, but it's the intelligence, it's the data, and it's turning it into information that people can consume. So absolutely, the very simple answer to that question is yes, there are higher levels of augmented reality that PTC can support. And if you have more questions on that, feel free to reach out to EAC. We'll be happy to explain all the different capabilities and help you understand strategically what's the best option for you.
Great. We do have one more question that popped up if we've got time. Does this app display PMI?
PMI, I'd probably ask for a little bit more of a definition on the abbreviation or the what that stands for, and probably be able to answer it at that point.
Product information tolerances.
No, it's more of just the visual component of the model. You know, it's actually a really good question if you went and added those as you know, model-based definition. If you put the dimensioning schemes and things on the model, would it appear as AR? I don't know the answer to that off the top of my head. That's something that we can check into and get back to you on.
Okay, awesome. I think that wraps it up for the questions. Thank you, Matt. Thanks so much for joining us today for our webinar on how you can rapidly create, publish, and share augmented reality experiences directly from Creo. We appreciate the time you took to be with us